You can, and it really helps. Headus really helps you visualize where your UV shells are going to be and how they're going to be sliced and laid out and stuff. And like I said, the majority of your grunt work for unwrapping will be done in here, and then you're going to fine tune it in your 3D application of choice, just to get everything really squared away and nice and pretty and efficient. Especially if you're modeling for games or something, or even for ZBrush texturing and sculpting. So let's make another cut up here. Let's cut off the little hat that this rock has right up here, and we're going to run into a little problem that Headus has at times. And so let's hover over this area and make a cut right here, and you can see where Headus decided to interpretate this edge loop. Kind of did this wonky. We actually wanted to go up this way, but in fact Headus decided, well, no, I'm going to take this road over here, and then I'm going to continue it over here, and then I'm going to feel like stopping because I don't feel like figuring out what to do next. It's really easy just to keep working through this. That is the mantra of old Headus versions, where you just keep plowing through and do what you want. So let's make another cut here, and we'll fix up all these other stray cuts that it's made over here. We'll make another cut there and here just to make sure. So now we have this sectioned off, but these cuts are still in place, and so if we try to separate them, this would separate, but these might also break everything in half. So let's go over our third hotkey, which is W for weld, and we're going to weld up these seams that Headus has automatically interpreted for us. Weld this up, and now we just have our hat just sitting there all nice and pretty, and we're going to separate him again by pushing enter. There we go. And now our rock is divided into nice 3 sections. We have the bottom, the middle, and the top little hat. And this, just like with other 3D applications when you're trying to unwrap, this middle section is too big. It's really huge, and it's just going to create a huge mess of UVs when we try to unfold it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to help Headus move along by making a cut here. And so now we have this cut on this little UV shell. But instead of cutting it again, like we made the cut, but nothing happened. Like, we can't separate it. See how it just moves up along with whatever it is? That's because this cut isn't really a cut. It's actually a slice. And so what we're going to do is flay this open so that way it unfolds a little bit better and a lot easier for Headus. And that hotkey to slice something is Shift S. And we've just made a slice into that, and you can see really quickly and visually how that works. And so now we have 3 separate UV shells on this. And our rock is pretty much done. And this is where saving with these temp files comes into play. The older versions of Headus, when you started dropping objects into the UV editor, it would start farting on itself and die, and then you'd be like, I just lost all my work. And then you'd cry. You'd come back after some Tylenols and cigarettes and start working again. But let's use these wonderful temp tools. We're probably not going to run into this issue working on such a low poly object and a simple object at that. But let's use them anyway just to get into the habit. So let's hit temp 1, and you can see it's read it out because that's the step version that we're on. And now we are ready to drop these into our UV editor. And the next hotkey that we're going to go over is the D key. And the D key will drop things into UV editor. D for drop. Fantastic. And if at any time you need a reference to the hotkeys on here, whatever menu or wherever particular part of the program you're in, you can always hit G, and all these hot buttons, all the hotkeys show up. Although they don't really make much sense most of the time, and so good luck with that. They kind of go away when you click or do something else. And you can always undo everything as well. You can hit Control Z and that, but we're going to resplit that again. Split that. See the nice. And so now let's drop these in. I generally, if you're working with something that's symmetrical, I will generally go left to right, left to right, left to right, and all the things, and then down the middle. But because this thing is asymmetrical and it's just 3 little UV shells, we'll just drop them from the top to the bottom. So let's mouse over this top part, hit D, and drop that in there. Middle part, D, and the last little bit, D. And it takes us into this 3D check, like this 3D perspective checking window. Now it looks kind of like the same, except you see exactly where our UV cuts were and where our UV seams are. later on this screen we'll come back to it and it will show you like your texel density of your spacing and how even your UVs are according to in relation to each other. And we'll see that right now. So from this 3D menu that it's dropped us into, not 3D menu, this 3D perspective it's dropped us into, let's hit the U key. The U key will take us into the UV editor. Bam.